Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Leadership Speak series at L Forum. Today, I have the privilege and joy of welcoming a very old friend of mine. We have had the privilege and joy of working together for many years, one of our prestigious IT services firms. And without further ado, let me introduce the guest on today's show, Mr. Jitendra Sindhwani, President and Global Head of Sales and Marketing at IBS Software. Welcome to the show, Jimpy.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here and meeting
My joy
you. Long time.
and my privilege to have you here. And like I said, just a little bit of a background about this forum. I started this about 3 years ago. The forum is called L Forum, or Entrepreneurial Leadership Forum, where I invite leaders with an entrepreneurial mindset, not necessarily entrepreneurs. And I've had a mix of entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, sportsmen, movie stars, the very mixed bag that I have been inviting on the show. And I think my audience likes the conversation because I think we bring a very different flavor and nuance. And the objective of this forum is to try and understand what makes entrepreneurial leadership such a unique approach to leadership styles. So my first question to you on our show today is your journey as a leader and your journey so far and how. And so give us your journey so far.
Well, the journey, last 20 years has been more than 20 years has been in the technology industry. Been privileged to have been part of two amazing firms, Infosys, which is interesting. When I joined, they were $100 million. And when I left, they were $8 billion. You were part of that journey too, a big part of that. And what an amazing time it was to learn how to create a company which is small, having 100 million in revenue. And then when you leave, it's 8 billion. In fact, I remember there was a charter or a strategy that I was part of, that how do we reach $1 billion in revenue when we couldn't even imagine what $1 billion would look like, right? So to be part of the journey to create that strategy and contribute to that was a phenomenal journey. And then the second part of the phase, second phase began for me when I joined this current company, IBS Software. Pretty much at the same stage. In fact, incidentally, when I joined, they were about 100 million in size, and I walked in with the same charter that I've been part of the journey before, and probably my luck and my hard work can again contribute to the same journey here again, right? I think I seem to be on a similar path here as well, which is quite amazing. But along the way, there is a lot of learning that has happened. In fact, I remember when I was starting my career, there was a lot of focus on learnability, right? And I realized that anything that you do in life, whatever position you are, you may be leading teams, you may become a leader of a unit, you may become a leader of a company. One thing that will keep you ahead of the race, or one thing you have to keep focusing, is learnability. So I would say the journey of reaching where I am today has been driven a lot by learning new things continuously, contributing to creating things, contributing to creating markets wherever we are, and then making sure that we deliver on our promise. At the end of the day, all corporations stand for a promise, right? Whether it's in the larger vision or in a day-to-day working of the company. If you keep that promise and if you deliver on that promise, I think that's where you keep thriving on. There is no magic bullet apart from that.
And I think for the viewers of the show, I think Jimpy has kind of underplayed and been very modest about his background. He's the traditional, the magical 3 I's, I would say, IIT, IIM, and he also has the Infosys against his name. So so he's got all of the boxes checked.
There are 4 I's: IIT, IIM, Infosys, and now IBS. So it looks like I use my...
You like some, and hey, you're from India as well. So you got the 5 I's going. So you can make your own 5 I model,
Yeah, I can make my 4 or 5 I model. And actually, there's a lot to learn from India anyways. So
absolutely, it's the place to be, I believe. It's the place to be. So I think, and I've had, let's say I've been watching you happily and proudly as you progress through, and I'm very proud to say you and I have worked together in the past, and much of that we have learned from each other. So this conversation, as I had shared with you, Jimpy, is around my area of interest is vision and vision clarity, because I think, as you rightly mentioned, you joined some of these firms when they were very young.
Yeah.
In terms of their maturity of revenue and or the organizational capabilities.
True.
So you had to be entrepreneurial whether you wanted or not.
Oh, absolutely.
So the which is what we're discussing right now. The relationship is very familial or entrepreneurial, however you want to put it. So I believe the fact that you are now in a position of leadership, you've been in a position of leadership and progress and built teams of your own. My question to you is around what is your definition of vision clarity? And how do you kind of imbibe it in your team to achieve success?
Yeah, I think I'll broaden that concept and I'll talk about vision and culture together, because
absolutely. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Because those kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. You know, because you can create a vision, but if you cannot create a culture which can achieve that vision will anyways fail, right? It's very, a lot of companies create that vision thinking that, hey, now it's very clear, now everybody's understood that, and hence everybody's going to deliver on that, right? I think unless you take the next part of it, which is creating the culture in which the organization is going to fulfill that promise or that vision that you're creating, it will not happen, basically, right? So the two things go hand in hand. And so I'll talk about both of those parts, right? Vision is something which is clearly a destination, I would say, which is much broader in nature that you have to achieve. And that vision doesn't change with time. Like vision is something, your goals will change, your mission statement can modify.
Beautifully said. Very beautifully
operative
said, yeah.
parameters can change, but your vision is a broader guideline that has to change. It's like, if you set a vision that, hey, I have to reach Mars someday, right? There's a lot that you will have to do before you actually reach Mars, right? Doesn't mean that you're not reaching Mars, because every step that you're taking is taking you closer to the journey and making it happen, right? I think vision is exactly the same. But the important part is that there are a few important aspects of that, however. One, vision is something that you truly know that you're investing in to achieve. It shouldn't be just a dream. There is a difference between, people chasing their dream versus chasing their vision. Vision is something that it can be far out there, but you know that you're going to achieve it if you make the right steps. That's number one. Number two, vision has to get converted into short-term goals. Very important, because there is no step functions that happen. Actually, if you look at most of the organizations that have done very well, they did not just become suddenly an overnight success. There is a journey that you had to take, right? Years of effort that will take, going back to Infosys, and now I look at IBS, right? That journey to 100 to where it is today, right? It did not happen overnight. It is a very incremental thing. You have to keep setting new goals, keep changing your directions. And as that's very important, that vision can get broken up into, goals which are achievable on a year-to-year basis or on a time frame basis, right? Third, very important is vision has to be understood by people. If it's a vision that people don't understand, they will not relate to it. They have to truly absorb it, truly live it, truly be part of it and contribute towards it. And that's where leadership becomes very, very important, because at various levels of leaders, right? Most organizations are pyramid structure, right? But the top part of the organization usually has to ensure that they can convert that leadership or that vision into something that teams can understand, something that teams can deliver on, something that they can feel proud of, and something that they know they're marching towards. And that conversion is very, very important. So that's where one big part of the leadership is that. And then comes the second part of the culture. I was recently reading this book where it said that, culture is the water in which you swim. So if you do not, and irrespective of what you do, culture automatically gets created. And that's the strange part about culture. If you don't create a culture, it'll automatically get created, right? Of course, it may not be one you like. So the second aspect is that, can you create a culture where your people can come together and give shape to that vision, work towards that vision? Because if your culture is that you're a very innovation-driven company, for example, right? Then is your culture supporting that? Is that culture supporting people who are willing to take risk, who are willing to create something new, who are willing to even fail at some point in time, right? But rise again from there. So that culture plays a very, very important role. So in my opinion, those two, vision and culture together, sort of go hand in hand, and the organization and the leaders have to be fully aware of that.
Amazing. That's I think I love the fact, and I have the same view about people keep asking me if vision can be altered. Vision cannot be altered. It's like I keep saying, if you want to go to Mars, you may say I might change the rocket, I might change my trajectory, I might change my approach.
Anything.
You can't suddenly say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to Mars, I'll go to moon now.
Yeah.
That's not vision.
Yeah, then everything changed.
Yeah, and I give a more very more boring example. Like, let's say I'm traveling from New York to Milwaukee, and I hear that there's a storm. I might just take the car, or I might fly to Denver, and then I fly to I might do n number of reroutes, and which is in the parlance of startups, it's called pivots and whatever it is.
Correct.
But I don't change the fact that I still want to get to Milwaukee because that's where my destination is.
Correct.
Yeah, very well said. So do you believe that this will bring clarity to vision? These are the things which are the ingredients which bring clarity in your mind, Jimpy?
Yeah, because see, vision cannot become your day-to-day charter. So for example, just take example of sales organization, right? Or before that, I was running a product organization, right? But let me talk about the current one, sales, right? If you give them a broader vision, they will actually not know what to do day to day, right? But if you can convert that vision into the actions that have to be performed at the ground level in the market, they will be able to relate to it. Like, for example, our vision is to, transform the travel industry through technology-driven innovation, right? Like that's what we believe in, right? Now, basically, actually, it's more concrete than that. It's basically redefining the future of travel through innovation. That's how we went. Now, for an average salesperson, he understands the vision, he believes in it, that I am actually taking a true transformation-driven SaaS platform to the market. He understands that, right? But he wouldn't know that for me to reach that goal, what does that person, he or she, has to contribute, right? Now, I made that hence goal easier for them and said, your purpose is to go and get a dominant market share in the industry. Because if you can get a dominant market share, that means the customer believes you, that means the customers are trusting you, that means you are delivering the value, and you are transforming the industry hence. And that is getting aligned with redefining the future of travel, right? Because if you're doing all of that on the ground, in the market, that's that's basically happening. So there is a vision hence for the function area that you head also. You can call it a vision or you can call it a goal that they're chasing, but it has to get broadly aligned with the overall vision that you're chasing from the organizational perspective. And and when that gets very clearly explained and the purpose is explained, then the team gets very aligned. Because at the corporate level, they may not have the whole view of the, how the corporation is moving forward, right? They only know about their function.
So I'm trying to make sure that I get it, which I consider myself the least common denominator here. So, if what I understand you right is, if your vision is now broken down to goals, and aligned with your culture, which is conducive to the vision that you have set for yourself, and your goals are thereby then broken down to your front line, to the last mile as is.
Correct.
And they know that this is playing into the larger vision.
Yes.
So they are chasing a daily goal, which is probably very tactical in nature, which then turns into a strategic outflow, and then goes to the macro vision achievement, which the leadership is looking at.
Precisely.
So that is how, in my mind, you are able to make sure there's vision clarity in your organization.
Because the larger organization can live with the ethos of that vision, but a day-to-day has to come from a much concrete goal and a concrete purpose, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they will get lost. Because for everybody to fully understand the vision is not practically possible. They can appreciate it, but they will not know how to contribute unless you define it that this is how your role contributes towards that vision. And these are your KPIs for that role.
Super.
Then the alignment happens, and it's like a car engine, right? There are various parts of the engine that have to work together to make it happen.
Beautiful.
But but there is a job that radiator has to do. There is a job that carburetor has to do.
Excellent.
There is a job that the cooling engine has to do, right? But they all have to come together to make the machine work, right? So I think it's a similar thing, right?
Excellent. So you've worked in various organizations, departments, headed different organizations, departments. How do you align people to this goal? So what is it that you do to make sure they are aligned to these short-term goals, which build into your strategy, which eventually rolls up into your vision?
One, I would pick three parts there. One, very clear articulation and communication, and it is not one-time articulation or communication. It's something that you have to do on a very regular basis, right? It's something that people have to understand, people have to relate to, and people have to fully comprehend what you're trying to tell them, right? That's part number one. So articulation and communication is number one, very well. Second, break it into goals that can be achieved in certain time period, right? So that they know that what is expected from them, right? And give them the tools and means necessary to make it happen, right? For example, from sales perspective, are we giving them the right products to sell? Are they trained to go and sell? Are they getting support from the marketing organization? Are they getting support from the broader organization? That's the second part that has to be very clearly articulated. And the third is, what goals will they get measured on? Very, very important. And it has to be done in a very transparent manner. Because a lot of times you set the goals which are too far out than what you actually should be doing, right? Like, you should always give a stretch goal, but in my opinion, don't make it something that the team cannot practically achieve, actually. Let's put it that way in a very simple English, like they should be able to achieve with the right support and with the right inputs that you would give them. So that's why articulation, communication, setting the right goals for them and the time frame, and measuring those goals on a regular basis and fine-tuning that as you go along. Those are the three very, very important things. And do it in a very transparent manner. Don't just beat around the bush, right? Be direct. Tell them this is what we are going to do, and become part of the team to make it happen. Just don't make it top-down thing. Having worked in the people's industry, I have realized that if you're not living by example, right, your team will simply not deliver. So be part of the vision, be part of the goals, right? And make it transparent.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you said transparency, because that's something which kind of gets brushed under the carpet a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So transparency is not easy. It's just easier said than done. So
in fact, with my directs, I do a weekly call. Whatever happens, wherever part of the world we are, and we are truly global because we work with travel industry. That's the most global as industry as it can get. We work across some crazy number of countries across all continents. So we are always on the road, but still Thursday morning US time, we all get together to assess where we are going. And it's all about discussion about, are we going in the right direction? Are we going towards our goals?
Excellent.
The KPIs moving on a weekly basis, and the transparency of what my goals are and what their goals are and how we're achieving it together does magic.
Excellent. I love that. I just love that. So, my audience would love to hear any benefits you've seen, because sometimes, I'm sorry I say this, for many, vision is a little poster on the wall for most, right? And it's an exercise to be done. You need to have a vision statement somewhere hanging on a wall. And I can bet you many organizations, even their leadership will not be able to speak it, repeat it by rote. Because it's not internalized. So I would like to bring to fore some anecdotal benefits you have seen because you have achieved vision clarity and vision alignment.
Very simple. If I take last 4 years, we've continuously surpassed our goals.
Awesome. And do you attribute this to the focus on vision and
I attribute
vision clarity?
The focus on vision, purpose, transparency, clarity, and providing them all the necessary support to make it happen.
Awesome.
Because, at the end of the day, if your team feels motivated, inspired, and knows that they're getting all the support to make them successful, It's a very interesting thing. I always tell my team, if each one of you is successful, then I'm successful.
Logic, right?
Period, right? So it is not that I am successful and hence you're successful. Actually, it's the other way around. If each one, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are, going out into the forest, you know, and getting
Absolutely.
food, right? They're going out and doing everything, right? Uh, and I believe that each one of them has to succeed, then I will succeed. So I think that fundamental concept is very simple, but it works. Then they know that yes, they're all in it together, right? And also, motivating is one part, but reward and recognition, you can't ignore that too. Like it's a iterative thing, right? So the clarity, the purpose, the goals, the support, and finally the reward and recognition, right? That together creates the results that you would expect from your team.
No, that's so beautifully put, so succinctly put. I mean, the fact that you have been surpassing your goals for the last 4 years is considering it has been a very stormy 4 years for all of us. It's not been easy,
Specifically for
especially
us,
the travel industry.
like
You had
when
to shut yourself down literally.
we literally for almost a year and a half, need to shut down. Like,
Yeah,
what
the
do you
world
do?
shut down. So what are you
And
going to
we are
do?
a SaaS driven, we are a SaaS platform.
And
We
you're
have to
dependent on
protect
travel.
people.
There was no travel. So,
There's no travel. What do you do now? Right? And actually, that also gave us an opportunity to become more creative. And of course, there are multiple things that we did as an organization to define a new mission for us and how we're going to achieve that.
awesome.
At the end of the day, it's this team that has to deliver. And by the way, our vision never changed. Our vision still remained the same.
Excellent.
Before COVID,
That's
after
so
COVID, the vision
reassuring.
still remained the same. We're still redefining the future of travel, right? So that has not changed.
That's and like any journey, you have some good and you have some bad.
Yeah.
So what have been your challenges? And again, anecdotally, I'd like to hear from you, your experientially challenges that you've had when you've had to articulate your vision and kind of steer the team in the direction you want them to head towards the vision.
Yeah. I think one is that a lot of times, people expect, or the employees expect, that the gains will happen immediately, right? May not be the case. Patience and perseverance in any business is as important as anything else. So there is a part that, hey, I'm going to achieve these goals, but there is a part related to time also. Like in our business, what we bring to the table, the platforms, the sales cycle, for example, is very long. It can be as long as 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, because these are very complex systems. Like we are offering flight operations system, right? That's what makes sure which plane goes where, right? And it's very complicated system, right? Or crew operations, or the whole loyalty operations that we run. Now, somebody just cannot go out there and buy the system and make it happen, right? So the time required to reach your goal is one thing, and which is true for most of the organizations that are offering complex solutions, right? So personally, I felt that was one challenge that I saw, that can I keep my team motivated, focused, while they are trying to achieve their goal, right? That's part number one. The second goal is, is the organization's support coming to them at the right time, whichever function you are in, right? Today I'm heading sales. In the past, I was heading a different function altogether. In any organization, is the other parts of the company providing you the necessary support, or are they becoming a bottleneck? Because any part of the chain, going back to my engine analogy, right? If your coolant stops working, right, your engine is going to heat up and stop working altogether or get burnt out, right? So a corporation is exactly like that, right? So the second challenge that we will always face is that, you're ready to sell a product, but the engineering is not kept it ready, for example, right? Now, what do? Everything is getting delayed, and that becomes a challenge for you, right? So the timeline, making sure that different parts of the organization are working together, is definitely a challenge. And thirdly, uh, finding the right talent, is very, very important. I believe that, while people are your asset, right people are your bigger asset, So
Well said.
in the people related company or the world that we are living in now, right, where services industry has become very bigger and bigger, or even in the manufacturing firm also, right? Today, I would say, even though you can bring all kind of automation, at the end of the day, there's somebody who has to still be there, right, in person. So I think having the right people, making them productive, is definitely a challenge that it's something that will never go away. And hence, uh, as a leader, you have to spend more time finding the right talent. That's very, very important, in my opinion. So, those are some of the challenges or the roadblocks that I would see.
Amazing. Chimpy, you've kind of summed it up so well and so succinctly. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And as I told you, this is your first time you're on this forum of mine. The objective and hope is that I will, take the liberty of being your friend and invite you for many other such events, because
Absolutely.
I really think we are trying to help each other.
Yeah.
In the earlier days, we could probably sit around a table and yak about such things, but today with the virtual world, my hope is there's much to learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah.
And I think my personal passion over the years is, and also my academic journey, is around the world of vision and vision clarity, and how leadership plays such a pivotal role of steering vision.
Totally.
And taking the firm. And I think you and you've seen probably some firms which have a very clear vision, making its goals look pretty achievable, and then some look so, mountainous, and you can't really get after them, right? So I really hope I can, invite you for many of these sessions that we plan to have in this thing. And I wish you and IBS all success.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, and look forward to staying in touch. Thank you so much, Jimpy.
Good connecting with you, and I'm glad I got this opportunity to share some views. I hope your audiences finds it useful.
Absolutely.
And as I said, I'm always available to support the community, always available to encourage them to do the right thing.
Thank you.
And
Thank
whatever
you.
way I can, so I'm always there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimpy. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Like, share, and subscribe to the EL Forum channel.